believe we are live. Let me check here. All right, someone type in the chat if you can hear us, please. We're going to do a little sound check. Hello to Alan. Hello, Susan. Can you hear us? All right, I think that the sound is good. I can hear it in my earbuds, so we
Excellent.
are going to go ahead and get started. We are John Paul and Blair Clark. We're located in the Metro Detroit area. We want you guys to just pop into the chat and let us know where you guys tuning in from. Got some fellow Metro Detroiters. Hello, welcome.
Excellent.
Mount Clemens, Kansas City. Hey, Andy, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on. All right, I'm going to take this earbud out. We are good. All right, well, let's get cracking.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us for Weeknight Workshop. My name is John Paul Clark,
And I'm Blair.
and tonight we are tackling the topic of how broke people can get started in real estate investing.
Yeah, so let me guys just ask you a question. It's kind of a baited question. How many of you want to increase your income? Give me a yes in the chat if you guys would like to earn a little more money than what you are currently making. And how many people have been thinking, I would love to learn how to make more money through real estate investing, but I have no idea how to get started, and I'm pretty sure that I don't have the right amount of money to get started. All right. Andy says, yes, please. So type a that's me in the chat or a yes, please, like Andy, if you would like to make more money and learn how to do it through real estate investing.
So, we have increased our income by over $100,000 a year through real estate investing. A lot of you are at the beginning of that journey, so we're going to back up and start there.
Yeah, so a few years ago, almost 10 years ago, I was sitting in the first home that John Paul and I had purchased right after we got married. And it was a really beautifully remodeled, cute little house in a very desirable neighborhood. And I was pregnant with our first child, our son. And we had just wrapped up the baby shower, just finished up setting up his nursery. Everything was beautiful and everything was perfect. And I was so excited to become a mom. But we were facing a pretty big problem. And as I sat there, like looking around this beautiful little nursery, my heart started to sink because I realized that very soon we would no longer be able to afford this house. And if we didn't do something pretty quick and something pretty drastic, we were going to lose it. So I had to do something really hard, something that I didn't want to do at all. I had to sit John Paul down and just tell him realistically, I know that we're 6 weeks out from becoming first time parents. And I have no plan or idea of what to do next, but we have to put this house up for sale. Otherwise, we're going to lose the house. So if we don't sell our house, we're going to lose our house. And like I said, I had no plan for what we were going to do after the sale. And at the time, we had an enormous chocolate lab. We were about to have a teeny little baby and no plan. But I just knew that we had to do something or else. So somebody tell me in the chat if you have also been there. Like even if you don't like you don't have to get personal. Even if you just type been there, you knew that you had to do something, otherwise things in your world were going to fall apart. But beyond that something, maybe you didn't know what to do next.
So, when we realized we had to make the move, we shared that realization with Blair's mom and stepdad, and immediately they said, okay, you're going to move in with us. So, we sold the house, the dream home, put most of our stuff in storage, packed up our big dog and our little baby, and moved into my in law's basement. That was a real tough time for me. See, I'd gotten my master's degree in education, I was a full time teacher, I was living the American dream, and at that point in my life, I couldn't even afford to put a roof over our family's head. So I was very humbled by my in-laws for taking us in, but at the same time, it was definitely a low point for me and my self-esteem.
Yes, it was a low point, but it was in that low point. It was when we were in that basement, so literally low point, that we made a decision that would change our lives forever. And it sounded crazy, but we decided we were going to flip a house.
So when we sold our first house, we ended up making a really good profit from it at the sale, and it was a kind of light bulb moment for us. We thought, what if we could do that like again and again and again and again? So we decided that we were going to buy a house and try to sell it for a large profit.
Yes, but we were still pretty broke because we did make a decent amount of money when we sold our first house, but we used the majority of that money to pay down our debt because at that point in time, student loan debt, credit card debt, etc., like our debt to income ratio was pretty astronomical. So we really only had a little bit of cash from the sale left over after we paid a few things down. Obviously not enough money to just go out and buy an investment property, and we realized very quickly that the only way that we were going to be able to do it, the only way we were going to be able to flip a house is if we also lived in the house at the same time. That was the only way we would qualify for financing, is it had to be our primary residence.
So that's what we did. We got ourselves a great realtor. We went out and found the crummiest house in a nice neighborhood. I remember the inspector when we walked through it the first time, his summation of the whole thing is this is a tiny, junky house.
Yep, those were his words.
And in my head, I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Perfect, we'll take it.
So we closed on the sale, moved our big dog and now growing toddler into that tiny, crummy house, and then we got to work. And over with a lot of help from wonderful friends and
Hmm.
family, we were able to fix the house completely up and sell it for more profit.
Yeah, and then we were on to the next one after that. But that first flip that we did, that live-in flip, this was really the foundation, not to be punny, but the kickoff to this amazing journey that we've been on. So we moved in to my parents' basement right after our oldest was born. He's almost 9 years old now. We've been just doing this ever since he was born, and we haven't looked back. We've just been building our business. We've been able to do more and more, and then eventually we've built this real estate investing business that earns us over $100,000 of extra income each year. So John Paul is still teaching, and I'm no longer teaching. I'm 100% home with the boys now. But what we do in real estate allows us to bring in an extra $100,000 a year to our income. So we wanted to share that story tonight with you guys, but we also wanted to make this open to your questions. We're going to stop sharing our story right now. We're going to put a pin in it because we actually want to hear from you guys. So what questions do you have? Just go ahead and type them in the chat. What questions do you have about how to get started in real estate investing, no matter what your circumstance is? Because I know it's cliche to see everything posted about getting started in real estate investing without any money, with little money, etc. But there are people out there who they just want to pivot in their career. So if you have any questions about how to get started in real estate investing, regardless of what point that you might be in, I've got my eyes on the chat box over here. And then we do have some questions that people sent into us earlier. So I'm going to give you guys just a second to type in your questions. But the first question that we're going to tackle tonight is how did we find that fixer-upper property in the first place? So John Paul, you alluded to a realtor. Do you want to expand on that? How do we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got connected with a realtor, um, and they actually were able to help set us up with the parameters for what we were looking for,
Mm-hmm.
price range, area, all those things. We narrowed it down from there, um, and then did a few walkthroughs of a few different properties until we found the right one.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're buying it for your primary residence, the realtor is often the best route to go.
Right. And then obviously, step one is you need to get pre qualified to see what you do even qualify for. And then understand there are some homes that are in such disrepair that if you are going to get a bank mortgage, a bank loan, bank financing will not finance a home that is to the extremes. So it does actually have to be habitable, livable. So the homes that we were looking for were outdated and run down and basically cosmetic. There weren't major structural damages to them.
No holes in the roof or
Hmm.
flooded basements or anything like that.
Right. But our home search for that first fix and flip was pretty standard to anybody else's home search. It's just our criteria was very different than what most people are looking for when they're out there to buy a home that they're going to move into. We had never met this realtor that we worked with at that point in time. And he kept asking us while he was showing us properties, like, are you sure this is what you're looking for? So we had to keep reassuring him, yes, sir, we're sure.
We have a plan.
All right, the next question that someone has asked us to elaborate on renovation work. How much of it did we do ourselves versus how much of it did we hire out?
So right out the gate, and mind you, I'm a music teacher. I teach high school choir. I didn't have a lot of experience in the trades and construction, but we had awesome family who are a lot of them are in different trades. So we leaned heavily on them for that our first one, live and flip. They helped us out so much. I learned as much as I could. But then the stuff that I ended up doing, I got on YouTube and I looked how to do a thing, how to plumb a sink, how to stop leaks, how to repair damaged walls, things like that. So there's so much information out there that, if you don't have a big budget and you can't just hire contractors for everything, a lot of the stuff you can do on your own. It just takes a little time and a lot of effort.
And when it's your own property and you live in it, there are certain things that you can pull permits for yourself, correct?
Yes, if you're the primary homeowner, you can pull most permits for most work that you would need to have permits pulled on it. We definitely recommend though for anything that deals with electrical or more high-end dangerous work that you do hire competent licensed contractors to do those jobs. But for us, it was mostly cleaning up, putting down new flooring, painting. Um, so things that you really could learn and do on your own.
Okay, somebody said that we need to turn our microphone volume up. Let's see if we can do that at all.
Want me to mess with it?
All right, did that work?
Actually, I can probably do it on here.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. No, I don't think so. All right, we'll just lean. We'll lean into it then. So, when thinking about renovation work, if it is overwhelming to you, a lot of the cosmetic stuff. Oh, yes, it's better. Good. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for chiming in and letting us know. All right, so we got to lean into it. You can do more of the work than you think that you can. If you don't want to and your budget allows you to hire it out, if you don't have the time, if you don't have the desire, but you do have the funds, hire that stuff out, man. But where we were at, we discovered skill sets that we had no idea that we possessed. And that was actually very empowering for us. There were things that we didn't know we could do. We learned that we could, and that just gave us a ton of confidence. And you guys, like when we moved into that house, we moved in with a toddler. When we moved out to that house, out of that house, we moved out with two babies. I was pregnant while we were doing the majority of this work, and then our second son was born. I was up on ladders making my mom screech because John Paul was posting pictures of me up on ladders, like doing different stuff, and it was fun. It was good times. It was good memories. But like John Paul said, YouTube, university, go like study. You will find so much stuff that's out there that you can do, and it's actually a lot of fun to
Hmm.
get creative and do stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely is.
Okay, so the money question, they want to know how much money did we make when we um sold that house. So, no, that's not it. It's, oh, how did you know
How,
how much money? Oh,
oh, okay.
okay. Okay. So, how did we know how much money we were going to make from that flip? The answer is we ballparked it.
Yeah. So everything is relative. The market shifts around, but you can if you are working with a realtor and have access to the different sites like MLS things, you can look and see what other houses in that area have sold for, and then it gives you a general ballpark of what a fixed up version of your home would be. So the first lesson we learned in real estate investing is you make your money at the purchase.
Yes.
So if you buy a home for too much, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna have to squeeze every square inch of profit out of a home that already was too high priced when you bought it. So we wanted to make sure that we were going to buy a house at that lower end. We approximated how much it would cost to do the rehab, material, labor, all that work, and so we did run those numbers, and we were pretty good. We were pretty good out the gate. We
Hmm.
were still new at it. Back 8 years ago, but we figured out how to run those numbers pretty well, and have refined that process ever since. So we've gotten real solid at it in the last few years.
Yeah, and this was at a time when the market was sort of stabilizing a little bit. It's been a roller coaster ever since things crashed in 2008. Things went down and then things climbed and then things stabilized and then things got crazy as of right now today. Um, but it's a basic subtraction number that you can do. I mean, when you're first getting started, don't expect to get right down to the dollar, but you should be within $1,000 or two of where your mark was. And the basic subtraction problem is just click through photos of homes that have been renovated to the level that you're going to do, homes that are comparable to the house that you're flipping. So if you're flipping a 3 bed, 2 bath, 2,000 square foot house with a basement, you're going to look at other homes that are similar to that within like about a mile or so radius, right? And that's just kind of general across nationwide. That's not even just here for Metro Detroit. If you just look at homes that are like your house in the same neighborhoods, etc., what's the tippy top that they're selling for? What's the absolute minimum you can buy yours for? About how much are you going to put into the costs? And then what we always do is we always take out about an additional 8% um, for the sale. So when you sell, you'll have commissions and closing costs, most likely, unless you're going to do a for sale by owner or unless you happen to have your own real estate license yourself. But if you just take an extra 8% right off the top, and it's 8% of the sale price, just take that off of your bottom line too, then you should be able to ballpark about what your profit will be. Okay, we are going to take one last question here. Oh, the work. How did we know what work to even do to the house?
So when we were walking through homes with the realtor, um, and I'm going to start off by saying, if you know experts in the real estate field, ask questions, lean on them heavily, because We've done that so much over the years, and it's really saved us. It's really helped us navigate this process. So when we'd walk through homes, the realtor would talk a lot about the kitchens and the bathrooms. Okay, so if the kitchens are clean and look nice, if there's a nice countertop in there, and if the bathrooms are relatively updated and maybe not pink or green tile, then those are very attractive to home buyers. So we focused on our tiny little kitchen in this tiny little house to make sure it was as beautiful and clean and elegant looking as we can make it, and the bathroom, that it was updated, nice tile, um, you know, all like new fixtures, things like that. So those are the big eye catching things you want. On top of that, flooring throughout. You always want to make sure the flooring, if it, whether it's carpet, LVP, or hardwood, you want to make sure you have fresh flooring in the home and paint walls. And a lot of people just skip the ceiling, like it's just white. But you realize that white over the years is not so much white anymore. And so you're going to want to paint fresh everything. And then on top of that, it's whatever little features, things you want to add. So breaking it down, kitchens, make those as nice as you can, bathrooms as nice as you
Mhm.
can, fresh flooring, paint everywhere.
Yes, bathrooms would be your number two priority. Ha ha. Ha ha. Hey, if our kids were in here, they would think that that was funny. Hey, Allie, thank you for chiming in. We know Allie. What's up, Allie? Are you working on your house? Let us know what renovation you've got going on and your remodeling that you're doing. Okay, so that was the cosmetic stuff in terms of what we needed to do to the house. But
Mhm.
how did we know like the bigger stuff, the mechanicals, maybe foundation, mechanicals, roof, etc. Like we had never done that type of work before. How did you know that we needed to do that type of stuff?
Yep. So the first thing when you talk about leaning on the professionals is we shopped around, found a really quality inspector, someone who knows the homes in the area we were looking, um, and we hired him. And I did a 3 hour walkthrough on this tiny property with this guy. And the whole time I was asking questions, I was taking notes because they know stuff, they see stuff, they look places you wouldn't think to look. They get up in the attic and they see, is there mold? What's the insulation looking like? So they can kind of check the behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't see it with, from um, inside of a room. So we really leaned on that inspector to get the nitty gritty about the quality of the home. Um, and that really will tell you how old is this furnace, how many more years does it have, is that hot water heater gonna stick it out? So uh, definitely if you are not familiar with the building trades and remodeling homes, hire an inspector. They will give you everything you need to know before you go into it. That way you can really figure out what you want to focus on, what needs attention.
Yeah, and when it comes to costs, an inspector can't really give you quotes. That's more for a contractor or a very informed person at the big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's. But they can tell you what needs to be done. And our advice would be if you are tackling your first flip and you are going to live in it, if you can find something with good bones and good mechanicals already in place, but the house it's the cosmetic stuff that's just run down and crummy, that would be the best place to start. Because if you are having to replace the furnace and the AC unit, water tanks in terms of expense are really not that big of a deal. But if you have major plumbing that needs to be replaced, electrical services that need to be updated, foundational repair, roof,
Mm.
etc. Those are your bigger ticket items. But if you can find a property where the structure is sound and the major mechanicals are decent and still have a lot of life on them, that would be our suggestion for where you should get started. Is just the cosmetic stuff. like your HGTV remodel type stuff. You can just do it in 24 minutes, plus commercial breaks. So, yes. So Allie says she's working on her laundry room. Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. I made John Paul work on the laundry room here at this house too. We've revamped it. So send us pictures when you're all done, okay, Allie? All right. So we're going to take a moment and just ask you guys, what are some of the topics that you would like us to teach on? We're going to be popping on YouTube live every Monday night for the foreseeable future, from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have a ton of information that we could share, a plethora of topics that we could teach on, right? But we want to know, what is it that you would like us to talk about? What are the things that you would like us to teach on? So, for example, one thing that someone has reached out to us, actually, not just one person, but
Oh yeah.
quite a few people lately. It's been married couples or significant others who are like super serial about each other, right? Like they're super serious. They've been coming to us and saying like, I really want to flip a house with my significant other. I really want to flip a house with my wife. I really want to flip a house with my husband. How do you guys do that together and not kill each other? So that's been one thing. Like, how have you guys built this business and not broke up, right? So that's one thing that people have been asking us about. Another thing people have been asking us about is just due to the market and due to the affordability or the lack of affordability, people have been asking us a lot of questions about living in a small multifamily and then renting out the other units. That's called a house hack. And we have house hacked twice. We have we have done single family live in flips twice, and we have house hacked our small multifamily properties twice, and we did it all in a 7 year span. And house hacking is, like I just said, it's when the property that you live in makes you money. So obviously, a live in flip is a profit down the road, it's the lump sum profit, but your house hack is you live with a tenant and then they pay you, and you use that to pay the mortgage, taxes, and insurance. And in one of the house hacks, we actually profited. So we lived for free plus we profited. And then the other one, our tenant paid over 75% of our living expenses, you know, to live there. So that's been another one. So it seems like the more popular question really is living in the investment property.
Oh, that's a fun one.
I know. So I think maybe that's where what we'll tackle next week is we'll tackle having lived in our small multifamilies, because there's a lot of advice to give on that one, because we've had great experiences. We've heard lots of stories of things going sideways when people have taken that on. So I think that's what we'll tackle next week. Does that sound good?
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah, that seems to be the popular one. Okay. All right. Y'all have spoken. That's what we'll do. Next week, we will tackle house hacking.
All right.
Cool, 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 cool. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to sign off, and we want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. And please join us again next week, Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to go live again here on YouTube. And if you are watching the replay and you have a question and you think, oh no, I didn't get to post my question, just drop it in the comments, you guys. We are going to be scouring the comments later, so we will definitely get the questions in the comments answered for another date, okay? And then be sure to do all of that YouTubey stuff. Please do the YouTubey stuff. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on the notification bell so that you know every time we decide to hop on and teach you guys this crazy business called real estate investing, all right? So, to all of you out there in internet land, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the workshop next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.